Ladies and gentlemen, we have like some craziness that's actually going on up in these YouTube streets. More so within live TV coming from Piers Morgan Uncensored. That actually took place around the time of this recording, around the 4th of July yesterday. Around late July 4th, if I'm not mistaken. And what we have here is Just Pearly Things being a guest on Piers Morgan's show up in London, England, and they're actually discussing about the specifics of a woman's right to vote, right? And based on Pearl's opinion from Just Pearly Things here, she believes women does not deserve the vote. She basically believes that women's only roles is to cook, clean, suck, slobber, you know what I mean? Assist him any way up in the house, assist her husband any way up in the household, and that's basically all she's actually limited to do. She should not have any rights outside of that, other than doing like housewifely duties. She should not have like any input when it comes to voting rights or any other rights whatsoever, however it may be. This is based on Just Pearly Things' words, might I add. So we are actually going to dig deep into this video and try and get into some clarifications based on the debate that Just Pearly Things had up in Piers Morgan, as well as a hardcore pro-feminist that's actually debating her on some of her stances. So let's get right into it. And side note, this actually is a familiar take coming from another dude that's up in the greater manosphere by Anthony Johnson of 21 Studios, if I'm not mistaken, that has the view on his Twitter page saying that all women need to actually be struck and voted out so that they could actually be reserved for the household to basically assist they may have may be, and that's the only rights that they have at that point based on the view of Anthony Johnson. But I digress from that. Let's go on this clip here.
Welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Pearl Davis has racked up a legion of online followers and plenty of breathless newspaper coverage by sharing her incendiary views on modern feminism. The New York Post called her the female Andrew Tate. So is she tapped into genuine female pushback to the excesses of wokery, or is she just an attention seeker? We'll find out in a moment. But first, let's take a look at the clip that sent her viral.
A lot of people think I'm insane because I don't think women should vote. Everybody thinks I'm crazy for this opinion. If anything, this is probably my most extreme opinion. 90% of women have been on birth control. 1 out of 3 women has had an abortion. 1 out of 3 women has an STD. Average body count is over 5, so that your average wife has slept with over 5 people.
And that is the information that you see with the average woman actually sleeping with partners that you could get from the United States Census Bureau. But those aren't reasons on like that's like the reason that she has on like why women shouldn't vote with all the hormones. That is just that's just not valid. And understand, right? When you take away a woman's right to vote, you're basically taking away a woman's freedom of choice, a part of a woman's freedom to choose, right? But let me continue on this video.
5% of women are not virgins on their wedding days. So I understand the complaint.
Now the big thing is, where does she get the 95% of women not being virgins? Has she actually dug into all the demographics of who actually took part in the U.S. Census survey? Where does she get her information from? Where does she get her sources from? And what's the sample size that the woman partook in the survey? Let's continue.
Okay, well, Pearl joins me now alongside political journalist Ava Santini, who was nodding furiously along there to everything she heard. Right, Pearl, you've be called the female Andrew Tate. How do you plead?
Well, I take it as a compliment. You know, I'm a fan of Andrew Tate.
Of everything he says?
It depends what we're talking about. But overall, I think he's got a good message. I think he's good for young men.
Translation, I know he got some key stuff that I fully agree with, but I don't agree with everything on what Andrew Tate says. And mind you, Andrew Tate is actually undergoing a criminal trial going on when it comes to his human trafficking charges based on his self-snitching. Y'all get to look up in the description below based on the playlist.
Look, you're talking about women predominantly, which is why you've got this big following. And your view is that modern feminism is deeply flawed. I would argue a lot of your proposals like taking the vote away from women are deeply regressive. Why would you want to remove, just from yourself, the right to vote?
Well, what happened was I had the same view, right? Back when I started, I was like, why? I found out that only 5% of women wanted the right to vote. And I couldn't figure out, like, why would...
Now the question is, where did you get the 5% of women that decide that their rights to vote should be taken away? Where did you get, again, Pearl, where do you get your sources from? Where's the sources at?
Women not... No, it's true. It's true. If you look at...
Where's the credible sources at?
Time.
At the time...
Because they've been conditioned by men to think that they shouldn't have a vote.
I mean...
And look at the body language on that woman on the right of Pearl. You're actually going to see it shortly.
What they say, but, you know, I started reading their writings, right? And what I found out was that the reason a lot of women advocated for it was because they believed it was the beginning of the breakdown of the family. You know, before you became one in marriage, 85% of people were married. And, you know, I hate to say it, but they were right. What has happened 100 years later?
What's that got to do with them having the vote?
Well, it...
There we go.
It goes back to responsibility. Again, men are 80 to 90% of the military. They run all of the infrastructures that make society run. So I just think if we want an equal say in society, then be equal. Do 50% of the hard jobs. Be 50% of the military. In the U.S., they're fined $250,000 if they don't join selective service, which is essentially the draft.
Okay, but specifically on the vote, what would having the right to vote have to do with family cohesion, for example?
Well, because again, before you weren't trying to divide a family. It was one family unit. You had one vote for the family. I mean, I don't think it's good for a family to have two votes.
Ava?
A lot to unpack here. I had to watch this for a second time so I could actually try to review to you guys. So basically, I'm going to leave women out of this here, right? And I understand all the men that actually literally live and fought and died for our country, the United States of America. And I know we had Independence Day around yesterday at the time, and I know a lot of folks have actually celebrated that holiday, you know, had their little treats and hot dogs, barbecue, literally seeing the fireworks with their families. So I'm going to go a bit deeper, right? We understand about the men that lost their lives, lost their limbs, got blinded, received Purple Hearts from the presidents of the United States of America based on their services and their efforts to literally defend this nation that we live, right? Now, I understand they deserve the right to vote, right? Basically, you have those things all the way up in place. Now, you look at the people that actually choose not to fight in wars. You choose the people that actually want to work white collar jobs, you know, do all like this stuff, being professors, being mathematicians, being doctors, all this other stuff, however it may be. You know, like do their voting rights get taken away as well? So their voting rights being taken away as well due to the fact that they didn't fight for the nation, or they weren't required to actually serve up in the United States Armed Forces. Do their rights deserve to be taken away also? And on a more specific note, say if they choose to do like a blue collar job, but actually not fighting the wars, they build everything. They get the roads maintained. You know, they get all the offices mainly built and all the technology stuff done when it comes to like electrical cables and all that stuff, so that the white collar dudes will still be able to actually like maintain and have their stuff running. You know, so that they'll be able to actually get their services done and perform their services at a much efficient pace. Do they deserve to have their voting rights taken away? Right? And it comes to certain ages, when it comes to certain races, you know, when it comes to men with learning disabilities or any other form of disabilities, or men with handicaps, elderly men, you know, young kids, even like a minimum age of 18, right? That don't even fully understand about wars and all that other stuff, right? Do they deserve to have their voting rights taken away as well? Now we add the women into the mix as well. We also factor in the women that have fought, that have died, that have lost their limbs serving for this country. Do they deserve to have their voting rights taken away too? What about the women that mainly work in white collar jobs, work in the STEM fields? Okay, women with businesses, women who are entrepreneurs, right? Women in business, women actually literally doing their things. You know, your hairstylists, you know, nail techs, accountants, managers, supervisors, etc. Any white collar job that I could literally think of. Okay, do they deserve to have their voting rights taken away as well? You know, based on what's really going on. Like, are they allowed to vote based on all the stuff that they done did if they choose not to actually go to war on the battlefield? Because there are some women that actually have worked blue collar jobs as well, even though they are a minority of them. But does that mean that they deserve to have their voting rights stripped also? That's something that Pearl, you have to look into, especially with women with disabilities and women of different races. Do their rights have to be stripped with voting as well? But let me continue.
Seems to have dropped about.
No, do you know what it's sort of like?
I know.
It's just sort of a bit galaxy brain. I feel like, you know, the stats that you're putting down.
And we are hearing, we're actually going to hear from the pro-feminist Ava here. That's a little bit spooked. You see the body language that's actually been showing up there, even though I may not fully agree in everything on what she says. But let's see what she has to say.
Perhaps correct in some universe.
Which stats?
They just kind of don't really add up. I mean, just to take you back to the to the women's writings that you've allegedly read. I mean, at
allegedly.
The time, well,
what do you mean allegedly?
And notice you've seen Pearl interrupt what Ava has to say, but not let Ava speak based on her own viewpoints. Just want to try and take note of that.
At the time that you're talking about, you know, women weren't really allowed to write. They weren't allowed to go to school.
Yes, they were.
Write.
Yes, they were. That's incorrect. The first female property. The first
about?
female property owner was in the 1600s.
That's a lie. That's bullshit.
Bullshit!
Okay. The first actual female property owner actually took place around the 1700s, actually. The deeds actually took place as early as, like, in the 1710s up in New York State, where they will allow women to actually own the property if the husband is away or is actually on business. But they will only allow married women to actually buy property up in the 1700s. And you can even take it as late as up to 1787 up in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts as well. And once married women are allowed to actually buy property as long as they have like the deeds alongside with the husbands, as long as he has some approval with it as well, right? You take it all the way back there. Now, women like of all creeds, especially with the women that are non-married, especially with the women that are single or in exclusive relationships that aren't even married, they weren't able to actually fully own property until sometime in the 1900s, where feminism was really coming into form. And understand, ladies and gentlemen, the original meaning of feminism, the original definition and the original design of feminism is to have women of all, is for women of all forms to have a freedom of choice on what she wants to do with her life. That's what feminism was originally designed for. Now let's continue.
The idea that women couldn't work and couldn't.
I'm so sorry, but that would be inherited property.
The first female millionaire was in the late 1800s.
And was that?
Actually, that was actually in the 1900s. Correction. Around the 1800s, if it's like the late 1800s or early 1900s, the first female millionaire was actually a woman by the name of Madam C.J. Walker, who was a black woman that actually formulated a multi-level marketing system based off of the beauty industry, more so specifically hair care products, specifically targeted and tailored for black women, as well as the cosmetics industry when it comes to makeup and all that other good jabs, all that other good stuff. What you see up and with the current MLMs today, like Amway, Mary Kay Cosmetics, other examples I can even try to think of that's actually makeup as well. Monet is definitely another example, just to actually name a few. They actually build with the MLMs you see today, like a Primerica or even a PHP, the company that Patrick Bet-David founded, right? For Valuetainment. All right, let's go on.
So no, it wasn't. It was self-made.
Yes, it
was.
Self-made.
Yes, it was.
It is self-made at the time. That's definitely true, but she did have some help on Madam C.J. Walker.
Yes, she did not inherit it.
What law permitted that?
What?
What law permitted that?
Well, there was no law. I mean, there's always been women that were influential in history.
Let's get on to the vote. So what I don't understand is, you know, a part of your message, I've researched you today, and hang on a minute.
Okay.
You know, you're
And you see, Pearl could continue to interrupt Ava based on, you know, Ava actually trying to dissect her argument right there. You know it's a trend, right?
big push is that you care about men and you don't think that men are getting enough of a say. But
Well, I care about
hang
women
on,
too.
I haven't
Care
made the
about women
point
too.
yet.
Oh, God, Pearl. Can you please shut up?
Because of feminism, okay? What I wonder is when you start making calls out like repeal the 19th, women shouldn't be allowed to vote, how is that helping young men? Because these young men have women in their lives, they have mothers, they have sisters, they have teachers, and they turn around, they don't know how to act around women because you're giving them license to be misogynistic.
I wouldn't call it misogynistic. I say be equal. So again, men
think
do
that's what
all of
most
the
feminists are
Well,
saying.
then okay, I'd love for the feminists, please apply for the oil rigs. Please go do the hard jobs in society.
And here comes Pearl actually going with like all the certain extremes that I actually discussed earlier when it comes to actually certain jobs to actually deal with. And there are some women that actually did some oil rigging and some of the dangerous jobs on the men and know how to hold a gun and know how to shoot it. There are some women that are out there, even though it's not many. But there are a number of women that actually do all these crazy paying jobs, dangerous, as you see, dangerous blue-collar jobs that you see literally up in the workforce today, even though it's a minority of them.
They're open, they're hiring because I don't agree.
And also, what I didn't bring up, you have certain women that actually do apply for these types of jobs, blue-collar and white-collar, but unfortunately are sabotaged based on the rejection that they get when it comes to their hiring managers. They get rejected basically plenty of times when they're actually there. They get discriminated against again when they're at work as well. That's also something to really factor on as well. There's a bunch of discrimination when it comes with like workplace. Sexual harassment can be like another factor up in the blue collar and white collar industries when women work with also. That's also a factor that you really have to take account of.
I don't think men or women are equal until we do the equal work.
But the equal that Piers Morgan and Ava are referring to is equal treatment. Yes, men and women are not equal in anatomy based on how we're wired in organs, but we're very unique, we're very different, we're very unique in our train of thoughts, we're very unique in our different terms of skill, but that does not mean that we do not deserve equitable treatment over another under the law. Men and women do deserve equal treatment under the law, and what Ava and Piers are literally trying to say. And by taking away one woman's right to vote, again, you're taking away you're taking away a woman's freedom of choice at that point.
No, listen. Go apply to be on the oil rigs. Go be a plumber. Go be an electrician. Go be on the front lines of the military.
And there are women that actually, there are women in those fields that are actually up in those fields really today, even though they're a minority. Again, even with Pearl literally interrupting Ava going gung-ho because he's really trying to force fill the narrative to all the literally young men out there so she could continue to grift on them and literally leech on them for their money. She don't really want to help men.
And then we should have equal rights. But until feminists are willing to do that, I don't believe we should have the freedom without the responsibility.
Okay, well, I don't think that I'm physically built for that. You might be, but I'm absolutely not.
That's the thing. Does Ava deserve to have her rights taken away just because she's not physically built for all the dangerous stuff that is going on? As I stated earlier. There we go.
But you said you were
There we go.
Wow. You said you were a volleyball player, and so you've got more strength than I do. I don't think that I can do that.
Everybody got different strengths. Everybody got different weaknesses and all that stuff, but that does not mean they do not deserve to be treated equally as the other person under the law. No. We got some folks in age quicker than others. Some women can age a lot faster than others based on like a lack of men and all that. But that does not mean they deserve not to deserve to have their rights taken away. No. Does that mean the other former women deserve to have their rights taken away? No. We just wired different. That doesn't mean that we have to be treated different. You know what I'm saying?
I don't have more strength than the average man.
I'm not going to take your rights away to do it.
I don't have more strength than the average man, but again, it goes back to go be a plumber. You want to be equal, go be.
Taking it to the extreme once again.
You want divorce to be made illegal.
Yes.
Why?
Yes, because I don't think what we have today is really marriage. What is marriage? It's for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. That's what marriage is supposed to be. But feminists have ruined marriage for the people that actually believe in marriage.
How?
When there's a 50% divorce rate.
Actually, the 50% divorce rate, some people may say it's 70% divorce rates, 80%, whatever the heck it is. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a survey that actually did all the rates of divorce rates that took place in 2009 that formulates what Pearl is saying, where's he got information from. And I know Coach Greg Adams mainly said the same thing, and I've been hearing about what Phil's saying about the fan court system being rigged in some cases. But that's the information that like she's referring to that comes all the way back from the year 2009.
And the average marriage
Why is that all
8
down to the
years.
women, though?
I didn't say that it was all down to the women.
So why
But
feminists
you asked why I want divorce to be banned.
Yeah.
Can I finish
Yeah.
that first?
And now you want to try and tell the host to actually let her finish, but you keep interrupting Ava? You fucking serious?
I'm saying, you know, the people that believe in divorce, go be in long-term relationships. Leave marriage for the people that actually believe in, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, till death do us part.
But doesn't the sanctity of marriage also rely on the woman being a virgin? So you wouldn't be able to get married.
Boom! Right there. You know what I'm saying? Right there. An undercover feminist spoon out all this dance, but yet she's not even fully preparing herself to actually seek for a husband. You know, getting herself all fully done up with hair and makeup and clothes and all that stuff. Not even testing something like all the beauty tips they literally have up there. They're actually trying to attract the man. You know, she's literally hitting the wall, literally coming down based on her age. She's 26, about to be 27, aging fast. And yet she's out here literally telling men, this is what not to do. Don't follow my lead of being the womanist. Go find a woman that do all this housewife stuff that's living up in the home. You know, cook, clean. You know, take care of your children. Maybe trying to get a little education here and there. But nah, you know, they shouldn't vote at all. They should be restricted to the home. And they should be restricted to shopping and all that stuff. That's all they do. You know, who knows? Ah, what a hypocrite. A fucking hypocrite.
What do you mean?
Well, you've spoken quite openly about how you're not a virgin, and so if you want to preserve that sanctity of marriage, then I just think that you're upholding standards that you don't actually live by.
You know, and that's a fair complaint. I wish I was, but you know, we can't go back. I don't know what you want me to say.
Yeah, but I just don't think it's fair that you get to be here and you get to be paid for your views, and you're telling other women that they shouldn't be allowed to.
I think.
Hang on. Okay, let me if I may, at some stage jump in. Isn't the whole point of being a feminist, though, that women are entitled to have their own views?
Absolutely, and
so she's perfectly entitled to her.
The point about it is the freedom of choice, right? If a woman wants to actually be a housewife by choice, if she actually want to actually just take care of her kids, even though she has an education, but she actually wants to assist and actually help run the household while the husband is gone, that's her right. If she wants to actually do like follow her dreams and actually try to build like a catering business, however it may be, that's her right as well. If she wants to be career force for 4 kids or not want to have any children at all, that's her right as well, right? It just brings a reaction to see whether or not that type of man is a good fit, or if a man is actually looking for that type of woman that he feels is like a good fit based on his mindset, to each that person's own.
Yeah, but you can't.
You might not like them.
But I'm here to challenge.
Isn't she exercising her rights as a? Are you a feminist?
No, I am not.
Really?
Undercover feminist behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen. This right there. That one right there dealing with an actual pro-feminist up in Ava. Oh my goodness. We're dealing with hardcore radicality at its finest. You know, dealing with the battle of the barking dogs. Woof, woof. Woof, woof. Woof, woof.
You know, I wouldn't go that far.
You don't want to be a feminist?
No, because I think if feminists really believed in equality, but you guys don't, I would love for you. There is an oil rig hiring. There is an engineering.
I would actually love to see Ava Santana on an oil rig.
No, seriously. There is a building being built next to my building. Go do it, feminists. Go do it.
But yeah, you don't even talk about the sabotage that they deal with whenever they even try to apply for jobs, even get rejected and face discrimination up in the workplace. They don't deal with that either.
I'm doing the same job that I'm doing right
when you
now.
find Pearl, and you want to get married to, are you saying you will be with that man whatever happens the rest of your life?
Yes, for the vows that we're supposed to live by.
How do you know you can keep them?
I mean, I think it's a choice.
How you know you're going to actually keep the man, you know? If you're going to try and make yourself attractive, if you try and get yourself extremely fit, you know, maybe tear into your hairstyle every now and then, actually put a little bit of makeup on. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make yourself like much more attractive, you know, get some advice for like some professional makeup gurus that literally come by and like, you know, promote makeup and hair care products for a living. Are you willing to do that?
And that's the thing, like, women are so willing to leave marriages because they're not happy. This is not about happiness. The most important thing is the children. And the problem...
Divorces are a lot more complex and a lot more deeper than much of the red pill thinks, right? Cheating and everything, I can understand that. And some of the small stuff, you can actually try and build into resentment, lack of respect. All those things could definitely lead to cheating, however it may be, and the tension there. That could be a factor. There could be other factors as well when it comes to past traumas, however it may be. But when you don't handle the small stuff in order, this is when it can really explode and really bite you up in the asshole.
We have a modern society where it's me, my feelings, leave when I feel like it, instead of doing what's best for the kids.
Ava, I've got to say, it's a little bit listening to Andrew Tate where some of it I really don't agree with. I don't agree with the vote stuff.
Right.
When I hear things like that, I think there'll be a lot of people, especially older generation women perhaps, who think, you know what, she's got a point.
Well, I mean,
In
I
some
believe in
cases.
agency, so I think that if a woman is going to look after her children in divorce, that's absolutely fine. I also believe in your right to speak your mind about it. What I don't understand,
I'd like to
what
say,
I don't
even before the
understand-
1920s,
Do you know what I mean?
women could speak openly. This idea that, like, women couldn't talk the last 500 years, there have been women
I know,
throughout
but the American
history
state
that have
education
been-
system has
that
failed
have
before,
been-
and it's
has
failing
been-
now.
there have been women throughout history that have read, written, and been very influential in society.
Okay.
So this idea like women could never do it.
Do you know what
believe
I
it.
don't understand though is when it gets spiteful, okay? Because you put down a few arguments.
And if you notice with Ava's actually the one that's actually being more feminine than Pearl, because she's the one that's really being more civil and actually discussing the matter in the civil decorum and actually challenging Pearl's on points and dissecting them in a much more civil decorum than what Pearl is doing. And when she's challenged with clapbacks, she's got nothing else to say but regresses all back to that old narrative that she had before. You can have like some disco points, but they're not fully sound due to the fact that she does not state any credible source that can literally back up her claim.
I think are perfectly, like, you know, they're kind of evangelical and they're Christian, but those are your right to say it. What I don't understand is when it kind of seeks into this sort of, you call women fat, you say that they shouldn't have abortions,
Are they fat?
you say that
Are
they
they
have...
fat?
Now that situation, I get it with the whole body positivity stuff, but let me continue with this.
You know,
I mean, the question is, are they fat? Yes or no?
why pass
The
that
average
kind of
American
judgment?
woman is 170 pounds. That's objectively overweight.
I mean, let's be honest. We now celebrate morbid obesity
Right.
as some kind of body positive thing, and it is.
And I do agree with Piers Morgan on that aspect there. I understand about body positivity and all that stuff, you know what I mean? But when it comes to the point of your health and actually showing your life, it's definitely a huge concern. Not trying to actually try and look a certain way or anything like that. It's more so about making sure you try and prolong your life as long as possible, even if it means losing some of that weight off, right? But again, we have to ask, how did that woman gain the weight? Does she have any traumas that led her to that weight gain, or however it may be? Does she have a lack of discipline when it comes to her food and ethics? We have to also ask these questions as well in order to actually get into the root of the issue.
Nonsense. So actually, on that point again, there's a bit of truth in
and this
that.
is the problem. This is the problem.
How have we come to celebrate morbid obesity as body positive?
Well,
It's nonsense.
we're not
They're using that as a cover, you know, so they can try and see themselves some accountability from actually trying to transform their life and actually trying to improve their life so they can try to prolong it. Morbid obesity is like a very, very serious ordeal. It could literally be very seriously life-threatening. It could destroy your life. It can literally get you down to the hospital sooner with more expensive bills, with a higher risk of that person literally dying at a very younger age than normal. Unfortunately.
talking about morbid obese. I was actually watching your podcast earlier, and you spoke to someone who was, I would say, probably a size 12, and you called her fat, a beast, and a divorcee.
She was fat.
Now, if a woman is pregnant and she gave birth and her weight ballooned and everything, and she's doing everything she can to actually try to get the weight off, that's fine. Her weight's going to fluctuate. I get that. I fully understand that. We're not going to try and fully shame women from that aspect that's there. But when they're actually trying to get their groove back and, you know, get some of the weight down and get them on like some of those weight loss and health journeys, you know, you have to try and slowly encourage them to try and have some fun and get them more active, and try and let them do things that they enjoy on an active sense, and try and get them involved in certain foods that they can enjoy eating, so that exercise could be an addiction for them. You know what I'm saying?
and a divorcee. I mean, like, I don't know what to say. This is the thing, women, we don't want to live in reality. We don't want to say things that are true. Was she fat? Yes. Was she a divorcee? Yes. These things are just objective facts.
Okay, I'm going to have to objectively...
And she insulted me first. They always do.
I'm going to have to objectively end the debate, but it was an interesting conversation. I think we should get you two back together.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is literally the end of the show here. When it comes with Pearl's situation, you know, we already know Pearl is literally a hardcore grifter at that. You know, whenever she gets praised on certain topics and she gets challenged, she doesn't have any sound response or any credible source to literally back up her claim. This is not a red pill guru that I would consider literally trusting for my life. You know what I mean? But again, let me make this very clear. This does not fully reflect the whole red pill community or the whole feminist community as a whole. But when you got extreme points coming from the red pill and feminism, more so they're literally two sides of the same coin. You know what I mean? Same mindset, but on opposite sides of the spectrum, right? Oh, and before I go, ladies and gentlemen, I will be digging real deep on the whole polygamy stance that, you know, your red pill gurus, your alpha gurus have been heavily promoting, having like the multiple girlfriend method, the multiple wives method, open on their end, open on the man's head, close on the woman's end, all that other stuff. So y'all be on the lookout for that literally when the weeks to come. But golly, this is literally fucking insane.
Show of hands if you're married in the audience. Show of hands. Okay, very few. Stupid. Okay. we got cameras on the audience. Show of hands if you're currently in a relationship. Okay. Stupid. So half the audience. Show of hands if you're single. Okay. Oh. Now, for all the single dudes out there, raise your hand if you want a girlfriend or a wife or a girl in your life. Show of hands. Okay, so the most of you want a girl in your life. Show of hands if you want to do the Myron approach and have multiple wives.